The way you're gonna get this $10,000 is by earning an extra $10,000 that you don't spend, and then you take this money and you put it into a separate bank account, which means you have to be able to at least earn this money first. There's a saying that goes, your net worth is the average of the 5 people closest to you, which I think is a bunch of crap. Because if you want to surround yourself with millionaires and you are broke, how are you gonna go surround yourself and make 5 millionaire friends? It's not that easy. You don't have the money to go and get a country club membership. You don't have the money to buy access to a mastermind. How are you supposed to do that? Well, here's what you can do. If you want to surround yourself with people that are rich, that are millionaires, that are doing big things, you don't have to physically be next to them. You don't have to physically know them, but you can start surrounding yourself mentally around those people by starting to listen to people that are doing better than you. How do you do that? Number 1, YouTube. Number 2, podcasts. Number 3, books. Surround yourself mentally with people that are more successful than you and all of your friends and everybody that you know. It is a game changer, because if you're growing up around people that are broke, living paycheck to paycheck, that don't have a lot of money, that are completely okay being in debt, that are okay being in this financially average place, but you know that something is broke, then you gotta stop absorbing all that mental information. Hang out with them, do what you gotta do, fine. But you gotta start consuming different content and put yourself into a different world, because you'll realize that as you start to put yourself into these mindsets of people that are making 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, 8 figures a year, 9 figures a year, it's a completely different game. They think very differently, and what you're gonna realize is it's gonna seem weird at first. Oh, what do these guys know? They're doing something completely different. They don't understand my life. But what you start to realize is every single person that has become successful has gone through some sort of crap, and they have some sort of story, and you gotta listen to what they're saying. You gotta start paying attention to what they're saying instead of listening to broke people about how to become successful. See what successful people are doing and listen to it. There's so much free content out there on YouTube and podcasts. If you just listen, start to absorb that instead of the broke stuff that you're hearing from everybody around you. But before I go deeper into that, let me talk about the things you should not be doing as you start to accumulate this extra money in your bank account. Number 1, if this is your extra money, do not put this money into the markets. I am a big advocate for investing. I have said many times that the way you become wealthy is by investing your money. Everybody in America needs to be a business owner. You don't need to go and start a business. You don't have to operate a business, but you have to be an investor. That's what it means to be a business owner, to be an investor. But when we're talking about your extra money, do not put this money into the markets. I have seen this so many times because I've been teaching financial education for about 10 years now, that when people have extra money and they're just getting started, they assume that I don't need money in the bank. I can just take this money and put it into the S&P 500. I could put this money into the stock market, because why not grow my savings? Why would I just want it to sit there and lose value to inflation? But here's the problem with that. When markets go down, because we know markets do go down, paying your bills becomes a whole lot more stressful. And one of the weirdest things, I didn't understand this at first. People would tell me, Jaspreet, how am I supposed to pay my grocery bill when the markets are down? And I didn't understand how they went hand in hand. How are you using your market money to pay for your grocery bills? And the reality is a lot of people do this. And I don't want you to be one of the people that do this. Your extra money goes into a savings account, maybe a high yield interest account, but not the markets. Your extra money is just there in a savings account, easily accessible. It's gonna be eaten away by inflation, but that's okay. That's not the goal. The goal is not to make you wealthy. The goal is to have some extra money. And this extra money could then be used to maybe buy you a nice investment. Maybe you can use this money as seed capital to buy a house. Maybe you can use the money as seed capital to start a business. Maybe you can use this money for a vacation. We're not talking about what to do with this money right now, but you can use this money. But in order for you to have this money, you can't just put it into the markets. That is a completely different game. Investing is good. You need to be investing in money, but when we're talking about your extra money, put that money aside so you have a cushion first. Don't number 2. Do not take this money and dump it into a 6 months to 6 figures program. Look, there's a lot of good stuff on the internet, but there's also a lot of crap on the internet. There's crap on the internet that will sell you this idea of how you can get rich doing nothing and live this laptop lifestyle, making all this money doing this simple process that this person has suddenly discovered, and all it takes is whatever money you have in the bank, or you can finance it. Well, with these get-rich-quick programs, what ends up happening is somebody is getting rich. The only problem is that person is not you. Now, there's nothing wrong with investing in your own education, buying online programs. There are some amazing programs out there, but make sure you're focused on a specific skill. It should be a skill-based program. Maybe it's a skill on how to invest. Maybe it's a skill on how do you earn money better. Maybe it's a skill on how do you manage your money better. Maybe it's a skill on how do you learn SEO. Maybe it's a skill in marketing. This skill-based information is very different than, here, do this, buy this, and you're going to get rich. That is a scam. But a skill-based thing can help you actually build, grow, accelerate your wealth. So use this money to help learn a skill, to help develop your wealth, instead of just making somebody else rich. Number 3, keep this money in the same bank account where you keep your spending money. You want to have different bank accounts, at least 3 different bank accounts. One bank account to hold your spending money, this is your checkings account. One bank account to hold your savings money, this. One bank account to hold your investment money. As you grow, you can have multiple different investment bank accounts, you can have multiple different savings accounts, but at the very core, you need to have at least 3. The reason being, you don't want to accidentally spend your investment money, and you don't want to accidentally spend your savings money. So you want to keep it separate. I used to have this problem. It feels weird talking about this now because it feels like a different life. But I used to have this problem that anytime I would have a couple $1,000s in my bank account, I felt like I had this urge, I needed to spend this money. I had to put it somewhere. Why would I want thousands of dollars sitting in my bank account? So when I would make some money, I would go out and buy either a nice watch or an upgrade my car. The first thing I did was I put new tints on my car. Then I put some new rims on my car. Then I put a new subwoofer system in my car. Then I put a new sound system in my car. Then I put new HID lights in my car. Or I buy a new watch. Every time I made a little bit of extra money, I wanted to go spend it because I felt like the money needed to be spent. And this is where one of the things that you can do to help you with that, to stop the impulse buying, is put it into a different bank account. And this is not your spending money. You can't spend this money. You make that rule, you lock it up, and you make sure you stick with it, that we don't accidentally spend your investment or your savings money. Number 4, do not post on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok how much money you're making or how much money you're saving. You don't need to. I know it feels good the first time you got $3,000 in the bank, the first time you got $5,000 in the bank, the first time you got 5 figures in the bank. But as soon as you start taking pictures of it and showing it off, people are going to want some of that money for themselves. They're going to get envious. They're going to want some of that money. Okay? Build your wealth in silence. That's how the real wealth moves. Rich is loud and flashy. But what you'll start to realize is when people really start to become more wealthy, they start to really grow their wealth, they start to become a little bit quieter. They start to be a little bit less showy, because they realize they want to keep it for themselves and not have to just keep giving it away. Because once you have that confidence, like, oh yeah, I do have money. Oh yeah, I do have wealth. I don't have to show it off the way I used to. Because when you're broke, you don't want people to think you're broke. So you spend a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of effort to make people not think you're broke, which keeps you broke. But as you become wealthy, now you're starting to spend energy and effort trying to make people not realize that you're wealthy. And number 5, don't accidentally spend this money on a Rolex. As soon as you start saving this money, what will happen if you follow your old broke habits is it's going to be very easy to realize, oh wow, I have $10,000, I can buy a $50,000 car. I have $10,000, I can buy this really nice thing. Well, if you want to really start building your wealth, use this money like a tool, not like a fool. Use this money to leverage your own wealth, not to make somebody else rich. That Rolex makes somebody else rich. That car makes somebody else rich. Start using this money to make yourself wealthy because you worked really hard to put this money aside. And the reality is, once you start building it, you can start building momentum. And the beginning is the hardest. The beginning of wealth is the most difficult because you're starting from 0 or 100 or 1,000. And now you're starting to get a little bit of momentum. And as you start to get more momentum, you start to push this ball. You start to push this snowball. In the beginning, it's small and you have to make all this effort to make the snowball a little bit bigger. But as the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, now every time you push it, it gathers a whole lot more snow. It gets a whole lot bigger. That's the way compound interest works. Albert Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. The reason why is because if you understand how it works, now your money can grow and make you wealthier. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what degree you have. It doesn't matter what job you have. Anybody can be doing this, but it starts with you taking that first initial push. So when you get this money, don't blow it. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.